Hello and welcome to Public Pulse here in New Jersey, navigating policy in the Garden State. I'm Jackie P. Taylor, and I am here with my esteemed co-host, David Brown. Today, we're going to be diving into how government and entrepreneurship intersect, specifically in Hudson County, a place where policy and innovation meet the street.
And to help us unpack it, we're joined by someone who's literally rewriting the playbook for business access, Markis Abraham, director of the Hudson County Office of Business Opportunity. He's from Wharton to law to sports to public service. He's seen every side of the deal. Markis, welcome. You've had a fascinating path, Markis. Athlete, sports agent, attorney, entrepreneur. What's the connective tissue that links all of those experiences to the work you're doing now?
Competition. That's the lifeblood of it. I grew up a competitor, and pretty much everything I did, especially around sports. Then going to undergrad, experiencing the curve for the first time, and understanding what that meant in terms of grading. Understanding that you're in constant competition. No matter that you probably did well on the exam, did you do as well as the others that are taking the test with you? So learning that life is about competition, embracing that, and looking to have results in a very uncertain sort of pattern style approach to life, just being able to get the results even during uncertainty. You're muted, Miss Jackie.
When you look at your background and all of your varied experiences, what do you think it was, whether it was a person or an experience that kind of got you to focus on creating access?
Really just my own personal experiences, feeling like sometimes there wasn't access and it was unnecessary because people had the talent, ability. Most importantly, they had the passion to get stuff done. So whenever I see entrepreneurs, even other individuals who are really looking to break through, I always feel a sense of willingness to help figure out how we can get over that hump, get over that adversity, really get to the point of our success.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's such mission-driven and really important work. So that's a really good segue to the Office of Business Opportunity in Hudson County. Tell us a little bit about exactly what the office does and what is an example of a win that would show the value of the office?
Great question. The Hudson County Office of Business Opportunity is the county's supply diversity arm, if you will. We are responsible for managing the set-aside ordinance here in Hudson County, as well as outreach efforts to build up the capacity of our business community. We want everybody thinking about government contracting when they're thinking about how they can grow their business, why they're in business, who they can serve. Oftentimes, entrepreneurs sort of never think of the government as potential clients. And so our job here is not only to make sure people know us as potential clients, but also help the business community understand how to work with government entities. And it's a win for us if you get a contract with us. It's a win for us if we were working with you and you got a contract in Trenton. It's always a win for us if you as a business owner decide it's time for me to look at these opportunities in government contracting, and I'm going to work with these people consistently and over time. When you give us your patience, we will give you results.
You are preaching to the choir, both David and I, and the NFBPA, big proponents of government contracting. I think you hit the nail on the head. So many emerging business owners overlook government contracting either as something for big business or something that's kind of too hard to break into. So I love what you're doing. And I think the more we socialize that message, the better off for these businesses, right?
Absolutely. Not only the businesses, we have constant contact with public officials that work in these entities. They may not be doing purchasing. They may be doing something totally noble, totally necessary for our communities to thrive. And when you have a conversation with them about, hey, what is your city doing with the business community? oh, well, we think we can help them get some grants. No, but what is the municipality doing to work with the bit? And they themselves never even thought about it. How do you think you got your paper to your office? How did you get those chairs that you're sitting on? So there is not only the business owners, but just the larger community. We need to start thinking about where are the sources of clientele for our business owners. It can't just be private business.
Yeah, it's an ecosystem, right, David?
Right. And it's just awesome attitude, Markis. So you often talk about being a bridge builder. What's harder, getting small businesses ready for government or getting government ready for small businesses?
It's equal. My stress lies in both areas. So I really can't count it. I will tell you though that business owners are more flexible because they are, right? They live a life that they need to show flexibility. Public officials, internal people, that employees that work for these government entities are less flexible because a lot of times they have to be, right? There are rules, there's rules of the roads, there are things. And then there's human nature that comes in where this is how I've been doing things for 20 years. Why should I change? I've been successful. I get promoted. I didn't get fired. So it becomes that thing where internally there's an approach, externally there's an approach. They both need to be done to make this a continued success over decades. And although there's hard issues to deal with entrepreneurs, a little bit more flexibility there because they see they can pivot and they don't have too much constraint.
Yeah, I think some of it is also, lack of knowledge on both sides about what really happens, right? What a day in the life looks like, what you really go through, whether as a small business owner or, like you said, as a public administrator. So I have a question for you. If we shadowed your team for a week, what are those things that would happen that may surprise folks on how the work really happens, how you guys get it done?
Yeah, there's a bunch of things. And if you indulge me, just stop me when you're ready to cut me off.
Go.
So one, you'll be surprised that we're on the phone pretty much every day, but we do have a scheduled set of days. But we're on the phone with business owners every day. So we recently had an appearance at our annual business resource summit. There was a question from the audience. The question was, when can I come see you all? Because I know sometimes government offices, they might not be accessible, or you might have certain hours where you see the public. So I said, no, you can come any day. We're there Monday through Friday. You're there Monday through Friday? Yeah, we're there every day. Okay, so what's a good time? Is it like 10 to 12? I said, no, we're open from 9 to 5. So the level of shock in just that answer alone. So yes, we're working every day. We're in the office every day. We're on the phone with businesses every day, talking to them about their issues with purchasing. We're on the phone with them when they're active bids. Hey, Markis, I don't understand this spec. Can you help me out? The answer might be yes. If it's too far, it might be no, but we also know where to direct them to get the answer. So that you'll see that you don't necessarily see across the state. You'll see us out on the street, driving our cars, putting gas in, paying parking tickets, all that stuff, to network with other individuals like yourself, with business owners across the state. That doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen somewhat. You'll see me, myself, also my colleague Stanley, in rooms with leaders trying to figure out how we can do better. Last year, we were at banks. We were scheduling appointments, going in, sitting down with bank managers saying, hey, is there a way we can do something different for the small and diverse business community? So what you'll see is a ton of activity, very focused on a mission. We have a system that we use internally to process potential set-asides that has been working and tweaked over the last 3.5 years. We're at a ton of events. We're sitting down with people talking about policy, and we're open every day talking to businesses, helping them.
That's super. That's super. I think that's great work. David, what are your thoughts on just the availability?
I think that's truly what's called boots on the ground right there, because they are getting it done. So in Hudson County, you launched its first disparity study, a big step for transparency. What are you hoping this study will finally quantify that anecdotes never could?
The facts. so that we can figure out what we have to do, if anything, right? We went in with a very open mind, but our leadership was adamant that we need to figure this out. We were the first county with a set-aside ordinance, right? We did $330 million courthouse project. $111 million went to small and diverse businesses. On a 30% goal, we did 31%. The leadership is here. And so when we look at those opportunities to sort of grow and be better in everything that we do in this space, we're always centered around that, mission approach to say, we need to know if we can do better, and how can we know? How we know with us doing better is the disparity study. We did it. It's complete. It was released last March. The results are as bad as the states, unfortunately. And now we're in the process of our post-disparity study 5-year program. That program was reviewed and blessed by our county commissioners, and we're working on making things better. A couple of focal points. One, which was a big mission of mine, and I am happy to say we did it, is that we got our Hudson County co-op back open. Now, it's a small co-op compared to other co-ops around the state, but it's a co-op that consists of all the cities in the county. And what does that mean? That means that we can now actively market this co-op to small and diverse businesses to show them how co-op purchasing can also really be a boon for them. A lot of people talk about the individual one-offs. Jersey City, I got a contract with Trenton. I got a contract with Essex County. How about the company that started out in 2017 with a paving job in Hudson County, a small paving job, maybe one block, and in 2023 did $27 million in construction work with Hudson County? How?
Wow.
They won the co-op bid at the state level. Now Hudson County, already having experience with this vendor, and they did a good job on a small project, it's like, hey, I don't even have to bid their work anymore. I can just pick them off the co-op that they won at the state.
Rinse and repeat.
$1 million in 1 year. Sorry?
I said rinse and repeat. They can
rinse and repeat.
Do a good job and rinse and repeat. So, there are these disparity studies can get really political really fast. You've got those who feel like the playing field is already level. Why are we even looking at this or doing this? You have others who say, look, I didn't need a disparity study to tell me that there was a disparity. And so how can I be convinced that this data from government is going to change anything? So I'm wondering, when you talk about things like the co-op, talk to us about brass tacks. What can a business owner who is listening, a small business owner who qualifies, who is listening to this right now, how can they take advantage of the co-op structure, for example?
Okay, so co-ops in general, similar to any type of purchasing, so don't act like that there's some large difference. You're going to submit your bid, whether it's an RFP or straight line bid. You're going to submit it, you're going to compete, you're going to win it. That aside, the why co-op purchasing, I'm going to get back to the data part. Why co-op purchasing is so monumental is because you get multiple clients with one effort, essentially, right? So the state of New Jersey puts out a contract, and I'm making this up. This doesn't really happen, but just paper is just easy for people to think of. For paper, you compete with 10 other businesses, you win this supply of paper. Now, guess what? Jersey City can buy from you, Newark can buy from you, Hudson County can buy from you. So you win multiple customers just by winning one effort. That's the power of dealing with co-ops. Why it was important to me is because we have a smaller scale co-op that'll allow smaller size businesses or businesses with not a lot of experience doing public work to get involved in that same type of idea. I win one competition and I get multiple customers. That helps exponential growth because 98, 95, whatever 90 number you want to say, 90% of the small businesses in the state of New Jersey are solopreneurs. How can we thrive if we can't hire? How can we thrive if we can't help the people in our community have jobs that have a decent wage? And government contracting is a way. With respect to how these numbers come about, And the fact that you don't need 2020 vision to see disparities all along, I understand that, but we still have law involved. County municipal governments are responsible for stewarding significant public funds, and we have to do it in a fair way that makes sense for the contracting units. So we can't just get rid of the rules of the road altogether. We got to learn how to play by them as well. But when it comes down to it, there's no, how can I say it? The data is what gets us the ability to legally discriminate. That's the best way I can say it. Discrimination is illegal. It should be. But in some ways, we need remedial efforts to keep us on the same playing field. And that's what a disparity study gets you. It gets you the legal access to do things that you otherwise wouldn't have the legal right to do. And the fact that it's done by independent, reputable consulting agencies is very important, because yes, you could get bad disparity study data, just like any type of data you could. So the process, managing that process, is also an important factor in how the efficacy of the whole study turns out.
Wow, this is a great segue into my next question, but I wanted to highlight that when you talked about cooperatives, and I'm a big fan of cooperatives, you talked about the big O, opportunity. And we really need to translate that message to our small businesses, our MWBEs, that they need to get involved with these cooperatives. So I'm very pleased with what you talked about, and we got to figure out how to magnify that to our small businesses. But if this study lands exactly the way you want, what headline do you want to read a year from now?
That's a great question, Dave. What headline I would want to read a year from now? I think my biggest issue that I am solving actively with my colleagues is consistent access to working capital for small businesses. Government is not like private. A client comes to my law office, wants me to do a litigation. I like the case. Okay. And you know what they do immediately? They reach in their back pocket for their checkbook and give me a retainer fee. You don't get that in government. You have to do the work first before you get paid. That creates a cash flow issue. Many people in business are not experts at managing cash flow. So the best they can do is get a lump sum of money so that the cash flow can manage them, essentially, right? But it's not accessible for most small businesses. It's just not, whether it be credit, other underwriting stuff. And the fact of the matter is, there are solutions. The bankers are not, they're not being transparent. There are solutions. They can put together programs. And even if it's as simple as, I will lend on a contract. What happened to all these banks that have relationships with these municipal entities? All these hundreds of millions of deposits that they're getting from these municipal entities. And we're not demanding that our bankers work with us so we can help our small business constituents.
But is that something that the co-op can espouse or advocate for on behalf of the vendors? Because to your point, you'll be able to access more ready and robust vendors if those types of credit facilities or capital facilities were available.
I think they can. I think the leadership can help. But I think it's the political will of the leadership to help, to sit down with the bank presidents. We have local banks who are only local to Hudson County. We know this, that we keep our deposits in. We know this. They can have the conversation. It's too much money. But I'm just talking as a passionate steward, right? What are the practical realities that are there for bankers and lending? But I'm willing to have the conversation. We have to have more leaders willing to have those conversations so we can overcome those issues. Maybe there's a participation by the entity where there's a mutual guarantee of some sort. I'm not a banker.
No, but there's power in numbers. I think you're making a really good point. I mean, it's kind of two sides to the coin. We at NFBPA sponsored us to provide the Boost GovScale, readiness course for up to 100 entrepreneurs so that they can get acquainted with the terminology, understand what a vehicle is. And quite frankly, a co-op is a vehicle. It's a vehicle that they can use to be accessed by buyers in government. And to your point, it accelerates exponentially the process to be already on a competitively bid, transparent vehicle, and then be able to go and kind of rinse and repeat to different jurisdictions. Now, I also realized, despite the dozens of businesses who went through that NFBPA program, that some businesses are just not ready for government contracts, right? They're just not ready to scale. So what's some tough love advice that you would give to an emerging businesses or a company that needs to regroup before scaling or even accessing that co-op?
That's a great question. We started that last year and we didn't frame it as tough love, but it is. Get your business in order. Let me see your books for the last 6 months right now. If you can't do that, your business is not in order.
Yeah.
Let me see your business plan. And I need to see that you put some revisions on it as the year went. I need to see that red pen where you crossed out this and you made an adjustment. You have to have a business plan. You have to have a budget. You have to have your budget to actual. You want to know your numbers. When you start measuring your numbers, measuring your goals, whether it be how many people did I speak to, then I know that you're really serious about business in general. Government contracting is not different from private business. You have to have the same well-run business to be successful in government contracting that you do in private business. Private business lets you get away with it, though, maybe a little longer than government contracting will.
Yeah. Client vetting processes, I've been having these conversations recently, would also prevent some of the cash flow issues because so often you're just so happy to get a deal, happy to close a deal that you don't do homework. You think they're, reviewing your references, but you have to do your homework on that prospective client. What is their pay history? Are there other vendors that they're slow pay? Because if you go into the situation, no matter how excited about the work, and you have a pretty significant deal, everybody's like saying hooray, but then they're a slow pay to a no pay, you just got yourself, you spent your capacity, your human resources on a project that really isn't benefiting your business. So
I'm so happy you mentioned that. I advise vendors who have not worked with a particular government entity in the past, as soon as they sign their contract, to request a meeting with finance and walk them through billing. Soup to nuts, so that you have no reason to say that you didn't know the process. Your responsibility as a business owner. I tell business owners all the time, I will help you. Anything I can help you with. But I'm also going to tell you everything is your responsibility. Okay?
Yeah, awesome.
You should call the finance department immediately upon signing the contract, even if the email hasn't gone through yet, and say, hey, I want to set up a meeting so I can walk through a fake billing so I have everything down. Because the mistakes in billing are what cause a lot of the delays by the vendor. And it doesn't help that when you make a mistake, the people who receive your mistake don't care. Or they put you to the made a mistake side and they start doing the work for the people who didn't make a mistake. So it's a combination, but it's primarily your responsibility as a vendor.
I love it. That's a great point that you highlight to the businesses to get in front of that finance office or that finance person to talk about the billing process. Because a lot of the complaints I get in my city manager role is that folks didn't understand the whole paperwork and the process behind it, which further delays them getting paid. Yep. So that is excellent. But what advantages do Hudson entrepreneurs have that outsiders underestimate?
They could probably walk to my office. That's about it. But also, I think we have a culture that's grown here that's really dealing with small and diverse businesses, from our county commissioners to our county executive to our department directors too. So when you go from having to sit down and have hard conversations with department directors about how they do purchasing to getting an email saying, hey, I was at the grocery store this weekend and I met this guy. He's a roofer. I think he might do some government work. Check him out. This is from a department director who's just minding their business, but is now invested in the process of getting small and diverse businesses opportunities. That's a change. And it took time. And that's why I say, I want you to give me your patience. If you give me that, We will work with you and you will get a contract. That sounds like a guarantee. I'm a lawyer. You cannot give guarantees. What I'm saying is my experience is this. The people who stick with it, they break through.
So you talked about patience. You talked about access to capital just so you can survive the ebbs and flows. But what are some other like big structural challenges that emerging businesses have when it comes to being really good vendors, right? Whether it's zoning, real estate costs, permitting, what keeps these small businesses from becoming larger businesses?
Two things that come to mind immediately. One, lack of financial controls internally, right? So they can never. So when you have lack of financial controls, a ton of stuff goes wrong. The main thing that goes wrong with government contracting is you can't demonstrate the financial wherewithal to get bonding. So you don't get on the bigger projects, right? Second thing is not enough joint venture work, right? Too many, I'm going to go it alone. You're a consultant. Maybe you do grief counseling, but there's a grant out from Department of Health and Human Services for youth services, including counseling, art, and all this other stuff. You submit your bid and you just put youth services instead of Googling where's the nonprofits that do art outreach? Where's the music teachers at? And then put together a package, put together a agreement between all of you. You're going to do these hours. You're going to do this service. You're going to do this service. Bop, bop, bop. I'm going to do this. I'm going to lead the whole thing. And we're going to go in together with a strong application. It's not enough of that. 2 years ago, maybe. It was October. I remember September. We got a bid out. It was for some community service related work. We called all the nonprofits we could think of and had a Zoom meeting and said, look, some of you fit here, some of you fit there. We don't know, but we know you all Jersey City people. We know you. This is an opportunity. They set together, 3 of them got together and they won $500,000 grant opportunity to service the community. Put a great application in. This is stuff that's actually happening, is documented.
No, that's excellent. I mean, that you're going the extra mile right there, and I applaud you and your team for that.
Absolutely.
And my next question, though, I think I already know the answer, but if you had to choose more access to capital or smarter regulation, which would create more jobs?
Access to capital. The regulation is going to always be twisted and turned and politically gamed. And so that's why we pride ourselves internally on saying we have solutions irrespective of the law. Because we don't do that. That's not our specialty. We don't do lobbying. We don't do bill writing. Other people are really good at that. We do irrespective of the law. This is how we can be successful.
Getting the best vendors to get the work done for the benefit of the municipality. So let's shift a little bit and talk about the National Forum for Black Public Administrators and our relationship with Hudson County OBO. Share a little bit about how membership and involvement with NFBPA also can open doors for pipelines and local businesses.
Absolutely. So NFBPA, I met David. My introduction to NFBPA was meeting David at the League of Municipalities in 2024 during a panel discussion. And David shared some amazing insights from the standpoint of a municipal official. And during that session, it really got me thinking, like, this is really progressive style thinking, and we can potentially benefit from the stretch of their organization, their mission, and maybe they can give me some pointers on how I could do better and serve the small and diverse business community. So I reached out. We had a conversation. And then the genius thing was that, I tried to make sure I followed up, but David followed up anyway, right after that. So the strength of the organization is clear, bottom line, because we both saw some mutual alignment there. And since then, I met with David about potentially, putting some more effort into our association. And it's like, let's do something. Let's do it. We can't sit by. We have the opportunity. And that's what you heard me mention several times on this call: leadership. That's the difference between organizations. You might have a good idea, but what is your leadership putting you in front of? So now David told me about Gov Boost. As soon as he told me about it, we went to our director. We said, hey, it's a work day, but we got a situation. It looks like it's good. We want to try to get some pointers and network with this colleague. We signed up. We sent, was it 2 people? I think it was 2 people from our office to go because I couldn't be there. And we sitting there watching this dynamic woman putting together a program to put entrepreneurs right in the right place to deal with government contracting. This is your leadership. Like, he's not playing around. I don't think that much of myself, but the fact that he brought me in, I really appreciate it because I see that he's dedicated to his mission just to do well at what he's doing. He never told me I have this specific mission. He just seems like an excellent person, and everything he does is excellent. I appreciate you bringing me in. I hope that we can maintain that level of excellence that you've established for your organization.
Well, first of all, thank you for those kind words. And you hit a home run with NFBPA National because our theme is excellence, Black excellence to be exact. So thank you so much for stating that. And I had another question for you, but Jackie, bear with me. I'm going to capitulate here because I think it's a great point in this discussion that you talk about BidFest right now. That's coming up. Our partnership with NFBPA, the Watson Institute, and yourself. And tell us a little bit about your organization and what BidFest is going to do, and drop those dates on us too.
Sure. So BidFest is our 2-day, 16-hour government contracting seminar. It's more than just, hey, let me learn about government contracting. It's, hey, I'm nervous. How do I bid? What does this mean? Well, guess what? You're going to sit down and you're going to go through a full bid, and you're going to go through a bid that's related to your business, and you're going to submit the bid. And when you leave there, not only are you going to know about government contracting, you're going to know how to bid, you're going to know what to do to prepare your company to bid, but you're going to bid. That's the secret.
So these are live bids, active bids.
No, we wouldn't do a live bid because that would be a conflict.
Right,
these are bids that passed.
Okay, that's
that
perfect.
You're going to get an opportunity to do. You're going to get an opportunity to submit to us. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't imagine how many people still turn in bids late, even though they're in a seminar.
Yeah.
But this is the real life of what happens, and why we hit on it because we put it together. Our company, Epic Business Solutions, is a government consulting firm, and we put it together because we thought it would work. It did work because of the nuances with bidding. It's not just about reading English and dealing with 100 pages and having your thing submitted by 10:59 rather than 11:01. It's about everything that comes with it, all of it, and it works. We have several multi-million, tens of millions at this point, proof of people getting contracts after coming to BidFest. And we want to enhance it. We're not stopping there. It's going to be January 17th and 18th at Kean University, 2026. It's going to be an amazing event. Usually in the past, we sponsored BidFest with OBO and the SBDC of NJCU once a year. But because of the success and the feedback, we're going to do multiple times a year throughout the state of New Jersey. And our first one is January in Union, New Jersey at Kean University.
I love it because, it's about building the muscle, right? It's a muscle, like you said, it's bigger than just, looking at that deadline. I love it. Building that muscle, and you're literally working out with them, right?
Yep,
you're helping them go through that, getting that feedback, knowing what that process is. I love it. That's going to be amazing for the state.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a little activity that we want you to indulge us with. Okay, sure. It's our lightning round. I'm going to have David. So we're just going to ask you to finish our sentences. Okay.
Okay.
And just do 3 or 4. So David, do you want to kick us off?
Got it.
Okay.
So one regulation. So you have to finish the sentence. One regulation I change tomorrow is.
The threshold for bonding.
Okay.
That's a good one. Okay. The most promising sector for small businesses in Hudson right now is?
Professional services.
The biggest myth about doing business with government.
Can I do two?
Go for it.
They just give out contracts and you never get paid.
Small businesses succeed when they
market and work on their business.
Love it.
Excellent.
You're good at this.
Yeah. So Markis, we're coming to our close now, and we wish we had a lot more time because we could probably be here for another half hour or an hour. But we want to thank you for giving us both data and heart today. And what's one call to action you'd give to every small business listening?
I say it every time, everywhere I'm out. No matter what, keep hustling.
That's great advice. And I love that you have provided amazing advice, not only for the small and emerging businesses that are listening, but also for our fellow corporate council members of NFBPA, other public administrators in the state. You literally have so many nuggets and best practices that you've shared. Hudson County's momentum totally proves that local government can be an accelerator and not an obstacle. So to our listeners or viewers, share this episode, tag your favorite New Jersey business so that they can take a look at this, and tell us what topics you want to hear next on Public Pulse. See you next time.